What if I told you that a single microscopic organism reshaped the destiny of nations, toppled centuries-old powers, and wiped out nearly half of Europe's population? This is the story of the Black Death, a plague so devastating, so merciless, that survivors believed it was the very end of the world. Stay with me until the end of this video, because the horrors of the Black Death may reveal more than just history. They may warn us about the fragile thread of survival that still binds humanity today. In the middle of the 14th century, Europe was a land of contradictions. Castles and cathedrals rose proudly across the land, symbols of human ingenuity and faith. Trade routes buzzed with life, carrying silks, spices, and precious metals across continents. But beneath this world of progress, famine, poverty, and superstition simmered just below the surface. Most people lived in crowded villages, with little access to clean water, proper food, or even basic hygiene. Rats scurried through the streets, fleas infested homes, and medical knowledge was primitive at best. It was the perfect breeding ground for something catastrophic. Some say it began in the East, in the bustling trade hubs along the Silk Road. A deadly pathogen, carried silently in the blood of fleas that clung to the backs of black rats, began its long journey westward. By 1347, Genoese trading ships docked in the Sicilian port of Messina. What they carried was more valuable than gold, but more deadly than any army. The sailors were sick, their bodies covered in boils, their breath shallow, their skin turning black. Within days, Sicily was in chaos, and within weeks, the plague had begun its unstoppable march across Europe. If you were unlucky enough to be infected, the signs were unmistakable. First came the fever, then the chills, then an unbearable exhaustion that crushed your spirit. But the most terrifying symptom were the swellings. Huge black oozing lumps called buboes that grew under your armpits, on your neck, and in your groin. They stank, they bled, and within just a few days, you were gone. Contemporaries described the agony in their writings. One chronicler wrote, "It was as if fire consumed the body from the inside." Few lived longer than 3 days. And yet, the suffering didn't stop with the dead. The living had to endure the unthinkable. Cities overflowed with corpses. The stench of rotting flesh clung to the air. Entire families vanished in a single week. The Black Death moved faster than anyone could comprehend. From Italy, it surged northward. France fell, Spain fell. England trembled as the plague landed on its shores in 1348. Germany, Scandinavia, the Balkans, no corner of Europe would be spared. Some towns lost over 70% of their population. In Florence, it's estimated that 4 out of every 4 people died. In Paris, corpses piled so high that carts could not move through the streets. The death toll across Europe? At least 25 million souls. Some historians believe the number may have been closer to 50 million, nearly half the continent's population. Imagine walking through your town today and realizing that every second person you know, your neighbor, your friend, your sibling, is gone. When terror grips the human heart, reason often disappears. People search desperately for answers. Some believe the plague was God's punishment for sin. Others thought it was caused by poisoned wells, bad air, or even the alignment of the planets.
Doctors, dressed in eerie, bird-like masks stuffed with herbs and spices, tried to protect themselves. But their treatments, bloodletting, charms, and prayers did nothing. And then, the scapegoats appeared. Jews, foreigners, and outsiders were accused of spreading the disease. Pogroms erupted, with entire communities massacred in fear and hatred. The Black Death didn't just kill bodies, it poisoned the very soul of society. With so many dead, the old structures of society began to crumble. Fields lay untilled, harvests rotted. Starvation followed plague, as there simply weren't enough people left to work the land. Churches were overwhelmed. Priests fled their parishes, terrified of infection. The authority of the Catholic Church, once seen as the unshakable rock of Europe, began to waver. But perhaps the most haunting collapse was the collapse of family bonds. Chroniclers wrote that parents abandoned their sick children, husbands left their wives. The instinct of survival was stronger than the ties of love. The Black Death didn't just scar the body, it scarred the imagination. Art and literature turned darker. The theme of memento mori, or remember you must die, spread across Europe. Skeletons danced in murals, grim reapers stalked manuscripts, and poetry reminded everyone of the fragility of life. This cultural obsession with death would echo for centuries, and in some ways, it still echoes today. Yet from the ashes of destruction came strange consequences. With so many dead, labor suddenly became scarce. For the first time, peasants could demand higher wages. Serfs walked away from their lords, seeking better lives elsewhere. Feudalism, the centuries-old system that bound Europe together, began to crack. The plague also accelerated scientific curiosity. People realized prayer and superstition weren't enough. Slowly, painfully, medicine began to move toward observation and reason. In its own dark, twisted way, the Black Death may have helped Europe move toward modernity. But the Black Death never truly vanished. Outbreaks continued for centuries. London suffered a terrible resurgence in 1665, killing another 100,000 people. Even today, plague exists in small pockets of the world, though antibiotics now keep it at bay. The memory of the 14th century horror, however, still lingers. It is a reminder of how fragile civilization truly is. So what can we learn from the Black Death? That even the mightiest empires, the grandest cathedrals, and the most powerful armies can be undone by something we cannot even see. That survival is not guaranteed, and that in the face of catastrophe, humanity is tested, for better or for worse. If you found this journey into the darkest chapter of human history haunting yet fascinating, then make sure you subscribe to Secrets of History, because there are countless more untold stories waiting for you. And if you want to continue your journey right now, click on this video here about the Trojan horse, myth or reality. Was it cunning strategy or clever myth? The answer may surprise you. I'll see you there.